Time is 9:34. Allergy sufferers could be in for a rough spring after an unusually wet and sometimes warm February. So what can we expect and how can we get ready for it? Fox Medical Team's Beth Galvin is here to talk about it. Hey, Beth.
Hey, good morning, Elise. And I think Mother Nature is probably so confused right now about what season and what time of year it is. And we're already seeing the pollen count spike. It got up to more than 1,000 one day in February. And on many days, it really feels and looks like spring outside, which can make some of us who have spring allergies feel pretty rough. When it comes to the weather lately,
we always have sort of what I call a roller coaster ride in February.
Atlanta Allergy and Asthma's Dr. Kathleen Sheeran says there has been a ton of rain.
And we had that one day that was incredibly hot. You know, I think it almost was 80 degrees.
And that, Dr. Sheeran says, can confuse the trees, leading them to start releasing their pollen early and causing the pollen count to spike.
And what happened last year was everything happened at once. We had the pine pollen, we had the tree pollen, the oaks and the maples, all perpetuating their pollen at once, and it was really a slam bang for people.
It's too soon to say if we're in for an early or particularly rough spring allergy season. Sheeran says that depends on how many more unusually warm days we have.
Because the tree doesn't know that it's February. The tree just knows the temperature and how much sun it's getting.
So Dr. Sheeran says if you seem to always be ending up with an itchy eyes and a runny nose in the spring,
it's the time now to start taking your medicines, and there are lots of options now that we used to not have over the counters.
For milder spring allergies, Dr. Sheeran says ask your pharmacist to suggest a medication. You could go with an over-the-counter antihistamine. They're available in less expensive generics, or you may want to choose an over-the-counter nasal steroid spray or eye drops, although Sheeran doesn't recommend drops that contain a decongestant.
If you really can't enjoy the spring, then talking to an allergist about allergy shots. Allergy shots can really make a huge difference in quality of life for people that can't go to their kids' soccer game or just become a hermit in the spring.
And if you're sensitive to those hay fever allergies and pollens, Dr. Sheeran says don't open up those windows, even though it's really tempting on these warmer days. Instead, use your air conditioner. And she says, remember that if you're going outside and your pets are going outside, you're going to be bringing pollen back inside. So just keep that in mind.
Something that you have to keep in mind, and I do too, right?
And we were talking, we both already started our
yes.
over-the-counter medication.
We are on the meds. We are. So any suggestions if we're spending any time outside? Beth?
Yeah, I think, you know, if you're really sensitive to it, I would just really kind of limit your time outdoors, especially when the pollen level is the highest, and that tends to be in the morning. So maybe exercising in the afternoon. And then, you know, when you come back in, just take off your clothes, throw them in the wash right away, and just jump in the shower just to kind of wash the pollen off of you, because you can track it inside.
A lot of people use neti pots. We hear about this.
Yes.
So can that help?
So neti pots really can help. Neti pots, though, are kind of something that you want to do sort of every day before you start really, you know, feeling the allergies or a sinus infection or that kind of stuff. That's just to rinse out your sinuses. That works marvelously well for some people at just kind of keeping things going and keeping them cleaned out.
Could be worth a shot, especially if we're talking about it being a severe allergy season.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. All right, Beth, thank you. Time is 9:38 now. Let's check back in with Good Day Atlanta Sharon Lawson. She has more of our top story. Sharon.
Well, Elise, John's